What's up, y'all? It's your girl Brittany back with another video. I created this page for those that know that they know things, feel that they feel things, and see that they see things, and are just now learning to trust in those things. So on this page, we get to allow life to unfold with spiritual eyes. I had been sick for about almost 2 weeks. Like, I'm still kind of clearing up and stuff like that, so I'll say 2 weeks, right? But I noticed something different with this sickness. Like, normally when I catch the flu, any kind of flu, it doesn't really matter what it is, what kind of strain or whatever, it normally literally only lasts like 3 to 4 days. It doesn't last long at all. The first day I can start to feel like aches in my body, but it's not enough for me to stop, and I can still move around and do what I'm doing, but I can kind of feel it. It's very slight, and then overnight, that's when it kind of progresses, and then I can start to feel it more, and I'm a little more, and that whole day is a whole day and another night full of just aching and all that kind of stuff. And so once that's over with, we're on day 3, and day 3 I'm kind of recovering, still a little weak or whatever, and day 4 I'm pretty okay. And so that's kind of how it normally goes. Well, this particular sickness was, this particular flu strain, whatever it was, I don't know. I'm still recovering from it. Like, I'm still gaining my strength back, and this was last week, Monday. So we're at the next Friday. We're at the following Friday. So it's been, yeah. It'll be 2 weeks on Monday. So it's almost been 2 full weeks. So what I wanted to say about that was I just kind of had noticed something. Now that I'm coming out of it, I noticed something, because I was feeling like I was falling into like this, like a little bit of like a depression, or I don't know what you want to call it, but I didn't feel connected, right? I didn't feel connected to the spirit at all, to God, to the universe, whatever. Everything felt kind of numb. Everything just felt like I didn't really want to do anything. And of course, I'm sure the part of that is because of the fact that I was feeling weak and tired, because of the flu and all this kind of stuff. But it's almost like, if I can put it in and describe it in the best words possible, it's almost as if my whole intuition, my whole spiritual system had just shut down. You know what I mean? Had just did a complete reset, but one of those resets where it's powered down for a little bit longer and make you think, dang, is it ever gonna come back up? Like that kind of thing, and so when I think about it, the first thing that resonates with me when I thought about the sickness that I'm just coming up out of was how about when you get sick, right? How about when you get sick, you go and your body, I'm sorry, my son came, so my train of thought completely left me. What I'm saying is the thing that resonated with me the most, right? The only thing that actually rings true, that comes up as a knowing, and I can't think about this in any other way, is that if you're a spiritual person, this will probably make sense. If not, this probably just will not make sense to you at all. It might sound dumb, actually, but if you're spiritual, this will make sense. I had my awakening last year in 2025, and I've learned a lot, or remembered a lot, shall I say, because we understand that going through an awakening, you're removing layers, and when you're removing and shedding layers, then there comes up the understanding, right? The truth, right, underneath the layer that you've just removed. So it's a remembrance of all these things that already are, that have always been. And so with that, it has to come in layers, because if you get all of it at one time, it could overwhelm you. It really can, because there's things that you have to perceive and accept and know to be true, and it changes the way that you do things. It changes the way that you see things. It's a process, right? And so since that time, I've been going through the perceiving removing a layer, perceiving something, and allowing it to just settle in and all this kind of stuff, right? Integration and all that good stuff. Well, like I said, normally the flu that I normally get does not last that long ever. And not even COVID lasted that long. So, this particular one was longer. And so for me, it was like when I was going through the sickness, I'm like, okay, I understand that I'm sick, but why do I not feel connected? Why do I feel like I don't even have like motivation or anything to go and do the things that I love doing that are part of my flow, right? Like lighting the candles and taking the bath and just relaxing, which is genuinely what I needed. You know what I'm saying? But I just didn't have the drive, the desire to want to do it like I normally do, right? And so that was bothering me too. And then it was like, okay, well, normally I'm getting downloads, and I'm posting my little shorts or videos or whatever on my platforms, and I'm just going and I'm moving and I'm connected, but I wasn't feeling connected or anything like that. And so it kind of dawned on me today that, like, when my intuition felt cut off, it was like, well, you were going through a factory reset. You know what I mean? You're going through a software upgrade. You literally, sometimes I believe with sickness is that, like, in certain situations like this, is that when you have shed so much of yourself and you've become a new identity, or you're on your way to becoming a new identity, and all these layers of remembrance are coming, and it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of spiritual work, and it does a lot of work on your body, and you have to integrate it and all this kind of stuff. Well, just like anything else, like a cell phone that has to go through the whole software update, it has to do a reset, basically. Maybe not like a factory reset, but it has to go through and download. You've been installing all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I had been installing all of this new information, you know what I'm saying? And in order for it to actually take effect, well, I had to shut down for a second, you know what I'm saying? And then when you come back online, you now embody the new features that were downloaded in the software, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what I kind of came to the understanding of in my mind, concerning, sickness and whatnot. And that's not even the point of the video. I just wanted to get that off my chest because, I've been pretty down about that. And I know there's people that are on their journey, and, they might be sick right now, and you might be feeling like, dang, I don't feel connected. I don't feel like I'm getting my downloads. I don't feel like, I'm getting anything. I don't really feel like, I don't know what's going on. Well, look, you're just going through a software update. Just allow it to do its thing. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be right back. You'll start to feel it when you start to, when the sickness starts to leave and you start to come back online, you'll start to feel it, But anyways, y'all, with that being said, getting into my thought process for today, like today I had been thinking heavily on, lack, and scarcity. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I just get tired, when those thoughts come up. Like, I get really, really, really tired and sick and tired of thinking that way, of having those thoughts, right? Because your reality literally does not match what you feel, what you know to be true about yourself, right? And what you know about how this all works. Everybody on this planet is abundant. Everybody on this planet is abundant, but there are systems and things that have been created, and over time they've meant to deceive people into thinking that they're not, so that you can chase and continue to build up these systems. And so that's how this thing works. You understand what I'm saying? Sorry, y'all. I got kids. If you didn't know, now you know. I don't remember where I left off at, but in speaking about lack and scarcity, it upsets me sometimes, and I'm sure it does everybody else, like not everybody else, but a lot of people, because, this, oh, that's what I was saying. This world has systems that have been created to deceive you into thinking that you're not abundant. And that's what it's all about, right? That's why everybody wants to be rich and famous and all these things, because there's a knowing within humanity that we're all abundant in every way possible. But because of these systems that have been built and created and that have done a lot of deceiving, it causes people to go back into these same systems thinking that these systems will provide the abundance. And in some cases they have, and they do, and they will continue to, right? But the true abundance isn't in what the systems are offering. The true abundance is within everybody individually. And that's the ultimate abundance. That's the ultimate, like, slap in the face to the deceivers. You know what I'm saying? When you know that to be true, when you understand that, and that's why it gets frustrating, because we understand that we're already abundant in every way possible, but we still do have to continue to work through these systems in order to receive some of the abundances, right? Until everybody can come to the same kind of understanding, like a collective understanding about this thing, will the systems then no longer work and everybody will be able to be abundant, right? Or to see and to know and believe that the abundance is already within them, right? And so that's why it gets frustrating. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when I get in those modes, like today, when I have those thought processes and stuff, it's like the first thing that I have to remind myself to do is to, man, think about the ways in which I'm abundant, not based off of the ways that the systems will deceive you into thinking based off of your financial status, your relationship status, your whatever status, anything tangible that you have, right? Granted, it is a blessing and it is abundant to have a roof over your head and the basics, right? But what about the things that make me feel good? Because when I feel good, I feel abundant. It doesn't matter how much money I have in my pocket. It doesn't matter what relationship I'm in. It doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. The only thing that matters is the fact that I'm at peace. The only thing that matters is the fact that I'm content, right? That I see things and that I'm feeling something that is giving me the truth of the matter. So when you have those thought processes of lack and scarcity, when you feel like you don't have this or why, look within your life, look and see where you're abundant at. If you're going to spend the energy to look at the things that you don't have or the things that you desire and you want, let's take that energy. Let's say fuck that, and let's take the energy and look at the things that we already do. What things do make you feel good, right? Like it's simple as what music, what song would you listen to that would put you in a good mood? You know what I'm saying? What food would you want to indulge in for a moment that gives you a good feeling, right? Responsibly. What TV show would you get into? What activity do you like doing for yourself that makes you feel good? Do you like singing? Do you like drawing? Do you like, I don't know. There's so many things that you can do for yourself to make you feel good. And when you feel good, you feel abundant. When you feel good, you can find abundance. You know what I'm saying? So try not to let it trick you. You know what I'm saying? Try not to let it trick you. And because it gets frustrating because you have a knowing. Everybody in humanity has a knowing. Every human being has a knowing that they're abundant at heart. Like, this thing shouldn't be this way, but it is. And we all know we're abundant. So that's why we chase the things, or we go after these things to prove, to be able to see it in our reality that it is in fact true, that I am abundant, that we are abundant. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about God and universe and or the divine or your higher self or whatever it is, right? It's trying to get you to see, it's trying to get you to trust in it, right? Fully and completely. Trust in yourself completely and fully. Trust in God, the divine, however you choose to see it, right? Completely and fully. In knowing that, like, right now you're already abundant, right? Right now you're already abundant. Not when you get that degree, not when you get that relationship, not at any point in time that requires you to have to get something in order to be it. You already are it. You just have to start flipping your mindset. When you get into that mode and you're just like, dang, man, I'm not going to be able to take care of this bill coming up. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, I ain't gonna lie, when I get mad and I think about bills and stuff that's due, or, you know, stuff concerning my basics, oh man, I get so pissed off. But then I have to remind myself, man, there's a whole earth that's full of like trees and like just the whole earth is abundant. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to, if I really, really, really wanted to, I should be able to build my own house anywhere that I like. You know what I'm saying? And live in there free, because the sun is given to me freely. That's the light from the sun is given to me freely. The water that we drink has been given to us freely, but we pay for it. We have sunlight, but we pay for lights. You know what I'm saying? And so when I remind myself of those things, it allows me to calm down and understand, girl, you know what you know. You know what I'm saying? And you're abundant now. You know, like how the good old book says, like the birds get fed. You know what I'm saying? On a day to day. They don't have to pay bills and all this kind of stuff, but they still get fed. They are living out there. You know? The circle of life continues to do its thing, and the things that allow Mother Nature and the universe to they just flow within their natural state, they get taken care of. And so all I have to remind myself is, look, you'll get taken care of if you just flow and be in your natural state. Remember, you're already abundant. You know what I'm saying? There's just systems and structures that have been built that are here to deceive you, to remind you that you're not. So instead of spending that energy thinking about the ways in which you lack, or thinking about the bills that are coming up that you cannot pay, right? Thinking about the things that are doing nothing but sending out a bad vibration, right? A lower frequency. A lower vibration is going out, and that is going to do nothing but return to you in your physical to confirm that scarcity and that lack mindset that you're putting yourself in. So if we're going to take that energy and think like that, let's flip it and let's find something that we're abundant for. You know what I'm saying? Let's just, the fact that I'm alive today, the fact that I'm breathing, you know what I'm saying? For me, I'm feeling better. I'm not feeling as sick and disconnected as I was. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, that's cool. I'll take that. Even if it's not what I want to hear, right? Even if it's not this money being in my bank account right now when I need it, right? That I can, or let's just say that don't work. Let's just say you can't flip it. What can you do to make yourself feel better? What would make you feel better? You know what I'm saying? What is something constructive that you could do that would make you feel better? You know, just start there. Just start there. It's better to do something like that so that you can stop that negative vibration from going out there in that unseen and returning to you in the physical. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, it's a natural, normal human thing to be in those mindsets sometimes. Sometimes we get cloaked back underneath those lower frequencies. And sometimes that's a process, and it's for a reason. But at the same time, you don't want to stay there too long, because in staying there too long, that vibration gets potent enough to start actually pushing out and coming back to you. So have your moment. You know what I'm saying? Have your moment, but don't get stuck there. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where my mindset was at today, y'all. You know, find the abundance wherever you can, because it's there. You know what I'm saying? If we trusted God and the universe and our higher selves or whatever, the way that the animals do when they're in their natural habitat doing their thing, and they get taken care of just the same, like, you know, they get taken care of. They eat every single day like they're straight. So if they can do that in their natural habitat, like, why can't we do that? Why can't we understand that about, you know, about lack and scarcity? Like, we're never lacking in anything, and we're never scarce in anything. You know, I'll give you another one too, right before I close this out. When we're thinking about the fact that we're lacking, right? Or the fact that we're scarce in whatever way, shape, or form, like in regards to money, right? I'm just going to talk about finances because it's kind of the easiest, or a relationship, whatever. Just put it to whatever it works for you. When we're thinking about that, right? Sometimes it's for a reason, right? And that's abundant to think about it in that manner, right? Sometimes when your finances are drying up, or they are dried up, is because maybe that you can't quite see something properly or hear something properly, because money can be a distraction, right? Money can keep people on the go, moving all the time. Let me go spend this, let me go, you know what I'm saying? It can damn near be noisy, you know what I'm saying? So when you lack, when it's dried up, it causes you to sit the fuck down. It causes you to have a seat, and in having a seat, you know, you're able to actually, you know what I'm saying? You're able to actually just melt back into the mundane and get into in your natural flow, in your natural state, and you have no choice but to allow the universe to take care of you in the same way that the animals do. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not always a bad thing when you don't have these things, when you don't have the relationship that you desire. In what way can you think of that would bring you peace? Sometimes it could be as simple as, look, I know if I were to get into a relationship right now, God and me wouldn't really be, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't really be seeing eye to eye. I'd be ignoring him or something, you know what I mean? Or if I were to get into a relationship right now, maybe I wouldn't go and follow this passion that I have. Or you never know. There's ways that you can look at things that are truthful, that will bring you peace and give you the abundance that you're looking for. Because in order to look at it a different way and allow it to bring you peace, man, that when you're peaceful, when you're in a peaceful state, when your nervous system is regulated, you're calling in nothing but abundance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to leave that with y'all for today. And until next time.